Peace if it's peace, man. Somebody wanted me to speak on Beyonce, my lord, my good McGregor style sister, and her recent Buffalo Soldiers t-shirt mishap, my lord. Let's examine the files. Here we got the beautiful sister Queen B, my lord, yeah, McGregor style, fellow third wardian, sporting her Buffalo Soldiers t-shirt, yeah. We champion black-owned business, but under further examination, if we look at the back, and this is the part that got everybody in an uproar, it says, and I quote, "Their antagonists were the enemies of peace, order, and settlement. Warring Indians, bandits, cattle thieves, murderous gunmen, bootleggers, trespassers, and Mexican revolutionaries. All these they met many times and with success, regardless of extremes of climate and terrain that they ranged from the broken, rugged, and torrid Big Bend of Texas to the rolling plains, plains, badlands, and sub-freezing temperatures of South Dakota. My lord, many a frontier official owed his life and his job to the support given to him by these black men in blue, and many more farmers and ranchers slept soundly in their beds because a thin line of black troopers guarded them from harm." Now, let's examine this and break this down, what they really saying, my lord. So this is where we got to put our thinking cap on, my lord. This is why you got to compartmentalize and analyze history. Put this over there and that over there. Who were the Buffalo Soldiers? The Buffalo Soldiers were black men that lived during the most racist time in U.S. history. Freed and former slaves and free blacks that were living during the time of enslavement. My lord, what did they do? They worked for the U.S. government to clear Native American land that the white Americans took. They were clearing it for white settlers. They weren't clearing it for themselves, and they weren't clearing it for the Native Americans. They was clearing it for the white people they were working for. So no, we don't have to be proud of that history, my lord. And we could properly analyze the history and say in hindsight, yeah, because we are living in the future compared to them that was living during that present time, that was wrong. But during that time, yeah, they was just doing what they thought they were supposed to do, my lord. But we know that you ain't supposed to take nobody else's land, and you ain't supposed to work on behalf of your oppressor, my lord, in the first place. That's why we need a nation. Let's examine the files, my lord. The Buffalo Soldiers, page 211, in Blacks and Indians. And for my young researchers and whippersnappers, get familiar with the index in the back of a book. So all you got to do is look for one word, and it's going to tell you right where it's at in the book you read, my lord. After the Civil War, U.S. policy was brought forcefully home to Native Americans on bayonets of U.S. infantry and cavalry regiments assigned to the frontier. For the first time officially, this included black men. The 9th and 10th Cavalry and the 24th and 25th Infantry Regiments, U.S. colored troops. There is a painful irony that these intrepid black soldiers took part in the final defeat of Native Americans, the first victims of racism in America. But take part they did in the last Indian Wars. Because their short curly hair was similar to that on the buffaloes' necks, Indians called them Buffalo Soldiers. And the name stuck. They marched forth to carry out the orders of their white officers and their government in Washington, whose policies made peace impossible. As the Buffalo Soldiers dutifully brought a white version of law and order to the frontier, they earned the respect of every military friend and foe they encountered. They guarded railroad and telegraph lines, stagecoaches and armed shipments, towns and homesteads, whites and Indians. Sound like they was running a nation, my lord. They moved Indian families and nations from one location to another and rode after those who left reservations to seek some freedom or merely to forage for food for starving people. From the Canadian border to the Rio Grande, from St. Louis to the Rockies and into California, the Buffalo Soldiers rode up an impressive record. My lord, and they did it for others. Now we got to do it for ourselves. Think nation, yeah. And if you in the limelight, hire somebody on your team that got a real grasp on history, intellectual topics, philosophy, and this can gauge what the public gonna be talking about when you put out these products. Because it's really just about making money, but your money gonna stop if enough people get pissed off. It's peace if it's peace. Think nation.